Streety. I'm here with one Christina Streety Napier, a descendant of William Lambert, which the portrait you can see in the background there. Miss Napier, do you have any reflections on this moment and being able to visit this great edifice, and any remarks about your ancestor, William Lambert?
I'm very pleased to be here in the sanctuary and in this edifice today. Beautiful location. I'm overwhelmed at the thought that the congregation that still meets here, that was joined with St. Joseph's after St. Matthew's, of course, was torn down. But I have ties to this place. William Lambert, as you see back here, he was one of the founders of this congregation, of this church, and I'm very elated, excited to be here. I had an opportunity to meet with some of the current people that attend this church, and I've been invited to come back in September when they're having some festivities going on. Right now I'm just really overwhelmed by the history, by the beauty of this place. And that's really all that I have to say. It's really beautiful seeing all of the pictures and the history, going from the current rector down to the very beginning where you see Reverend W.C. MONROE. So this is a historic opportunity for me. Thank you.
Okay, well, you've just had a moment to spend with Christina Streety Napier, a descendant of William Lambert, and one of the original founders of the St. Matthew's Church, which was formerly in downtown, more close to downtown area of Detroit. And you've got a chance to look at some of the great artifacts and, if you will, historical pieces here that's been assembled and put on the walls of these great hallways in the great sanctuary of this fine church, which was erected in 1926. Christina Streety Napier, we thank you for your reflections and moments about your ancestor, William Lambert. Established in 1846, St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, formerly located at 2019 St. Antoine and Elizabeth Streets, would become the second Protestant Episcopal Church in the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. The very first Protestant Episcopal Church was St. Joseph's. William Lambert and Reverend William C. MONROE of Detroit's Second Baptist Church had a vision of bringing the first African-American Protestant Episcopal Church to Detroit. With a large contribution from William Lambert and a whole host of others, their vision, St. Matthew's, would become a reality. The story of St. Matthew's and St. Joseph's begins with the merger of two historic Detroit congregations in 1971. Merger talks had been under consideration for several years, but the time was right for serious discussions in 1970. With the encouragement and the support of the Diocese of Michigan, the two congregations began to explore the meaning and the value of such a merger. St. Matthew's Church of Paradise Valley, in the heart of downtown Detroit, found itself in a neighborhood that was fast disappearing due to industrial expansion and urban renewal. St. Joseph's Church found itself facing a rapidly declining congregation by championing some very important and unpopular social causes. The parish keenly felt the social turmoil of the 1960s and 70s. This time period also had its effect on St. Matthew's Church, which realized that it too must respond to what was happening in the streets of the city. The two congregations were now called upon to embark on a new faith journey. This new journey could draw upon the rich resources and heritage of both churches. St. Matthew's Church was founded in 1846 by organizers of the Detroit Underground Railroad. The founding fathers and mothers were concerned about the development of black people in a nation that was plagued by a most destructive white racism, a racism that questioned the very humanity of black people. The early parishioners worked to create a school for black children and were very concerned about black economic development. In the early 1920s, the parish was concerned about the working conditions and the employment opportunities of black workers at the Ford Motor Company. It also should be noted that the Detroit chapter of the NAACP was founded at the old St. Matthew's Church. St. Matthew's is the second African American Episcopal church in the Episcopal Church. St. Joseph's Church was established to serve the people who were moving into the North Woodworth area, which in 1883 was south of the boulevard. The leadership of the Detroit community of that day found itself in and out of St. Joseph's. In 1926, St. Joseph's relocated further north and built at its current location at 8850 Woodward Avenue. In the late 1940s, when the neighborhood around the parish changed, the parish underwent change. There were those who welcomed black members into the fellowship, but there were those who chose to move away. In the 1960s, St. Joseph was active with freedom bus rides and protesting against the Vietnam War. When young people went on strike from the public schools, St. Joseph opened her doors and established a freedom school. 1971 marked a new lease on life for both St. Matthew's and St. Joseph's. The new parish committed itself to serve the immediate neighborhood, the city, and the Episcopal Church at all levels. Today, the clergy and lay members of this parish serve on National Episcopal Church boards and on many boards throughout the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. As a parish fellowship, we are concerned about quality education, the involvement of black artists in music and the fine arts, social justice, locally and internationally, the care of the forgotten and poor members of the community. We are concerned about those things that will improve the quality of life for all people. We seek to live out our baptismal vows by praying and working for freedom, justice, and peace, and by seeking and serving Christ in all persons. We are committed with God's help to respect the dignity of every human being. Week by week, the people of St. Matthew's and St. Joseph's gathers to hear the Word of God, to offer up prayer and praises, and to break bread and share the cup. We do this in thanksgiving for what God has done and for what God is doing and promises to do in the future. St. Matthew's and St. Joseph's Episcopal Church, a legacy of service, commitment, and freedom. I am Joseph Napier Sr., and I thank you for coming along with me on this visit of this historical church.